Hello and welcome to the program. With its high level of IT engineers, Ukraine is slowly becoming an attractive hub for investors ready to bid on innovation. The UNIT.City platform aims to promote innovation in Ukraine, but how? To discuss this, we are joined in the studio by Kyrylo Mazur, Head of Ecosystem and Partnerships at UNIT.City. Hello and thank you for joining us.
Oh.
So first, can you tell us more about this UNIT.City event?
Actually, UNIT.City is the innovation park that we're building in Kyiv.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the huge innovation district for more than 300 companies.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have more than 15,000 people in 7 years.
Okay.
For now, we have 100 companies. And the idea of UNIT.City is to help companies grow on international markets and to help them grow faster. That's why we have some activities that help companies to grow. And actually, UNIT Kyiv Investment Week is one of such activities. It's a series of events that we will have at Kyiv next week.
Mm-hmm.
We will have 9 events for more than 3,000 people from Europe, United States, and we're going to have great concentration of international partners, international investors, and we'll try to show them another face of Ukraine, not only about corruption or about the war conflict.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we'll help them to understand great opportunities here.
So how do you explain this interest for Ukraine
Mm-hmm.
by investors? I mean, European or American. What could define, this Ukrainian particularity for innovation?
Mm-hmm. Actually, Ukrainians have really creative minds, and they have. We have a lot of technical guys who can create innovations. Now in Ukraine, we don't have enough investors because this industry in Ukraine is pretty new and growing. But at the same time, we have a huge interest from international partners because startup industry in the world is growing,
Mm-hmm.
and investors in United States or Europe, they try to find new talents and new teams, and they don't have enough for now because in Europe, for example, they have much more money than startups. That's why a lot of Eastern European countries, European ones, they try to find right partners in Ukraine, and we can help them with new talents, with new teams. And now Ukraine is becoming pretty popular in Eastern European region. We see new openings of corporate R&D centers of global corporations. We see opening of global R&D centers of huge startups like Snapchat, for example. They have opened an office in Ukraine last year. And of course, we see a few great success stories in Ukraine. For example, Grammarly is a company that has raised $110 million last year. We see the result of GitLab. It's a Ukrainian company with a Ukrainian founder who has raised around 100 million last few months. And we have a few success stories, another ones that show Ukraine as a country that have interesting startups and interesting companies. And of course, investors want to invest into them and earn money because the market is pretty new and growing.
So do you see it as, well, with a lot of optimism as sort of like a Silicon Valley or that kind of hub in Eastern Europe? Is it comparable, or is it, that's you're aiming for? Maybe that's something different, maybe?
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that somebody can repeat Silicon Valley and create something the same. Mm-hmm. Because United States, they had much more different resources and situation 30 years ago when everything happened. In Ukraine, we see a pretty different situation, but we see the concentration of startups, concentration of international partners who want to cooperate with us. We see some concentration of talents, and it will be pretty different story than Silicon Valley, but actually UNIT.City is an example of concentration. We try to create the platform, the environment and the ecosystem for startups and for innovative companies in one place. And such support can help them to have much bigger results than in anybody different country.
Now, if we're talking about investment here, one of the main problems that foreign investors meet in Ukraine is, well, it can be corruption, can be, raids, and it has been a huge problem, especially I'm thinking about IKEA, who postponed its installation settlement in Ukraine because of this corruption problem. How to ensure that there is a proper, quiet climate, and safe climate for young investors, especially young investors, which are like not big companies and who can't really, defend themselves as.
It's not a secret that Ukrainian companies and startups, they don't register headquarters in Ukraine because of the situation, because of our legal because of weak courts and weak legal system. And most of companies try to have like headquarters and register company, for example, in Delaware in the United States, or on Cyprus, or somewhere in Asia, because investor from United States, he or she wants to be sure that everything will be fine with this company. And if company will be registered in the United States, American investor will invest into American company. Yeah. And for example, all success stories in Ukraine that we see
are actually based in...
They can have office in Ukraine, and for example, 90% of the team will work in Ukraine. But Ukrainian office will be owned by American headquarters, and the idea that such situation can help American or European investors be protected under the government protection. That's why they try to protect in this way. So, of course, we want to have a better situation in Ukraine. We want to have strong court, great rules for everybody, and to see control. But for now, startups try to do some improvements of their business activities.
So do you think that uniting all these startups can help them be stronger in the matter of, having a proper system for them?
I believe we need to do a lot of things in Ukraine, because we need to have much better business environment than we have now. Because it's really hard to pay for international payments. It's really hard to receive international payments in Ukraine. That's why, if I have a company, I try to earn money for my headquarters. And a lot of companies in Ukraine, unfortunately, do this. And if in 5 years we will see great success stories about company, for example, that Google will buy some company for $1 billion, Ukrainian government will not have any cent of it, because technically it will be
it's not
American company. That's why we need to change it, and we need to help startups to make their business easier, because now it's not really easy in Ukraine, and we have a really high level of bureaucracy still, and we need to change it.
So what's next now for UNIT.City?
Now we have 100 companies in one place. It's startups, corporate R&D centers, we have few success stories. And now we want to be more international oriented. We want to create bridges between Kyiv and London, Kyiv and New York or Silicon Valley. And we want to establish cooperations between them. And the idea that we want to create great environment and to become #1 in Eastern European region. If you want to outsource your business somewhere, you will choose Eastern Europe and with a high level of expectancy. But Ukraine, we want to see Ukraine as #1 in Eastern European region, And we already have some success stories when global corporation Syngenta, they decided it's number 3 in the world in agri-tech industry, and they decided to choose Kiev, not Romania and not Poland, because Ukraine have a great concentration, and UNIT.City has become a partner for this office, and it will be one of 7 innovation offices in the world, and this office already at UNIT.City. We have opened it 1 week ago.
So the idea is to become the reliable partner from Ukraine.
Yeah. And we want to become such partner for everybody from international markets.
Well, that's all we hope for you. Thank you for joining us in the studio. It was a pleasure to have this overview of this project. That was Kyrylo Mazur, Head of Ecosystem and Partnerships at UNIT.City. Thank you for watching the program, and stay tuned for the rest.